Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another round of the Mike and Brooker Show with your hosts, Mike and Brooker. This is when you're talking now, Mike.
Oh, fucking distorted guitar.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. So we have on a guest today. He is the head strength and conditioning coach and assistant athletic director. Is that right, Nick?
Yeah, assistant AD of sports performance. Just a nice title. I just oversee everything that we do: sports performance, nutrition, strength conditioning, whatever you want to call it.
And are you the assistant athletic director as well?
Yes. Yep.
Nick DiMarco. So as we get into these roles with strength conditioning, we find that the only way to, and even in fitness, like even in the private sector, the only way to make serious money or more money is by being a manager, and taking on these managerial roles. Did you get your master's degree?
Yeah, I had my master's in 2015, and then I actually have my proposal defense. I've been done with my PhD coursework and passed my exams about 2.5 years ago, but I've just been a lazy piece of shit, and I haven't finished my dissertation. So I have my defense for my proposal. I've got about an 85-page document done, so 90% of the way done with the dissertation process. So I'll have the PhD hopefully this year.
And what's the PhD been in, Nick?
Health and human performance, just a little bit more global. Guys like Eric Quorum and people like that who have been in those kind of high performance director roles, which was my original idea of wanting to get a PhD, was to work in the NFL or Power 5, Power 4 now, in one of those high performance director roles. But honestly, now it's just more of a safeguard measure. It's nice to have. I could be a professor at Elon. It just gives you career options and stability in an unstable world of strength and conditioning.
Yeah. For all the young strength coaches listening now, that's what this game is about. So your goal, obviously starting off, was Power 5 NFL. And how long have you been at Elon now?
This is my 7th year here.
And you've had plenty of opportunities to leave, I assume, correct?
Yep.
And why haven't you?
I would say this, the main thing is just career stability. I mean, the natural progression is, when I was a young guy and I just want to be a Power 5 director and train a football team, it's the easiest way to make the most money. And ego-wise, you're a young coach. That's what everybody wants to do if you're competitive. But in 2018, when we knew we were having our daughter, my whole purpose and everything just kind of shifted. And I knew even before that we had her, like, hey, I'm never home. This is probably not the most sustainable thing. I don't want to invest more time in 100 athletes that I work with than the 1 or now 2 kids that I have at home. So to me, every position, I'm in a pretty fortunate spot where I'm paid well because of the assistant AD title, overseeing all the sports here. Every position I've been offered, the natural step is you go from an FCS director to a group of 5 or a mid-level FBS team, and then, or take a back seat and you're a head assistant for somebody at the Power 4 level. And I'm just not willing to make that jump where the pay jump is next to nothing. Like a few jobs I've had the chances at, it's, say I can make $40,000, even $50,000 more, but I'm tied to the head coach rather than running a department. You go in there and you lose 10 games and you get fired, even though it's not your fault. Mm-hmm. That's just a tough spot to be in with young kids. And our family loves it here. I love the situation here. I feel like the older I get and the time with the kids is obviously just a huge priority. But even just, if you want to be great at your job, you can be great at your job anywhere. And I think as long as you're paid fairly, which is tough to do in this field, but if you're paid relatively well and you have good quality of life and you get to work with good people, which I've been fortunate to here, I think you're in a great spot. Like everything after that is just ego oriented.
You say, and I love that you say that. You say 2018, once your first child was born. How many kids you have?
2.
And what are their ages?
6. My daughter just started kindergarten this past week. That's been a tough transition. And then our son is 4.
Why was that tough?
You know, you think you're prepared for it, and honestly, I think she's better prepared for it than you are as a parent. Like, you drop her off at the bus 6:55, she's not back till 3. I'm like, man, I want to fucking text her. Like, how's she doing in there? You know, it's just it's a weird feeling. It's not like I'm there all day. Like, I go to work and stuff like that, but my wife stays home, so she's used to spending an abundance of time with her throughout the day. So I think it's been a little bit foreign just sending her off and hoping she does well. You know.
Yeah, and I'm happy you said that, bro, because I'm in the same boat. I go to work and I leave my daughter, and the other day, like I just seen her, she said, "Bye, Daddy," and it's just, dude, it just sucks.
Yeah.
And now she's your daughter going to school, bro. Like, that's the next 12 years. It's 7 to 3. Someone else has got her all day, every day, and you get summers off now. Like, that's you get it for summers. That's it. It's so sad. It's so fucking sad, right?
Yeah. And you only got such a finite time where, like, your kids really think of you as just like the best thing ever. Like, our kids right now, all they want to do is hang out with their mom and dad, to the point where I'm sure you guys are familiar with. Like, it's almost annoying. You're like, fuck, like, do something else. But in 10 years, when they just want nothing to do with you and they want to hang out with your friends, you're gonna have a different perspective, obviously. So it's just a fun time with kids at that age. Like, they're just perfect at that age. So it's anything you can do at that career stage to spend as much time with them as you can, I feel like is really important. Luckily for me, COVID happened when my son was born. I spent, almost a year where we were relatively remote, and it was just the best time ever with a young kid.
Dude, I love that. Yeah, Brooker, yesterday or 2 days ago, Serafina looked at me. She goes, "Daddy, I love you." Grabs me by the face just like this, and mwah, mwah, and gave me like 20 kisses in a row. I wanted to fucking melt. Dude, it's really the best. Like, when I was younger, I didn't have kids. I'm like, all right, whatever, douchebag. Like, I don't give a shit. But like, it's the fucking best thing ever. It really is. I fucking
100%.
love it so much.
Yeah. I feel like for me, it's changed my perspective too, just coaching. When you're younger, it's just you're competitive. You want guys to give their best, and you'll talk shit to guys, and I still do. You want to be competitive and hold guys to a high standard. But at the same time, now I understand, like, that guy has a parent, and, like, treat this guy with the most respect you can, these guys and girls that you get a chance to work with. Just because there's someone out there that same situation as me, send their kid off to college, like, you want them to be treated extremely well.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason why I'm harping on this so much is these are things that we need to consider as professionals. What do we want from life? What kind of life do we want our kids to have? It's a lot to consider. Like, are we going to put our careers and our egos ahead of our time with our family? And listen, there's nothing wrong if you do that. Those are your priorities. That's who you are. For me, for Brooker, for you, that wasn't on it. I've said for years, if I get a strength conditioning job, it's got to pay me way more than I'm making right now, and I have to have like a 5-year deal, or it's going to be at like an Ivy League school where I know I won't get fired. You know what I mean? Like, and my kid will go to school there for free.
Yep.
Right. Like, and I do not, bro, I don't care about the level of play. I'll have my job. I'll be okay. I'll be doing what I want to do. I'll be helping the demographic that I want to help. Like, I'm totally cool with that. I don't need the glory. I don't need the fans. Bro, to be honest with you, I don't even need the money. Like, I'm in North Jersey, and my wife and I live on about $80,000 a year, which is peanuts in this area. Like, that's absolutely, like, we're dude, that's almost like poverty line in this area, and we are so happy living this life the way we live it. Because, I mean, my daughter comes to work with me. She comes to work with me from 8 a.m. or 8:30 and my wife will come pick her up at 12. Like,
can't beat it.
You can't beat that shit. I love that. I think it's stuff that all these guys need to consider when they're getting into strength conditioning. Like, you could have moved on and it would have changed not only what you're doing, but the time with your family. Like, bro, you have a pretty sweet schedule. After this, you get to go home. Like, you go to a Power 5 school, you got to sit there. You got to do way more crap. No?
Stuff that just doesn't move the needle, too. Just a lot of babysitting, desk guarding. And that's where, like you brought up, in the right situation, I've had some really good friends and mentors that I've met. Like if you get linked up with the right head coach and like you said, it's a 3-5 year deal where you're going to make an absurd amount of money, but you get to do things on your own terms. That's the big key. You end up in a place where you're just listening to somebody who you report to directly and they don't really understand what it is that you do, and you get stuck doing a mound of shit that doesn't really matter. Then, is it worth making that kind of money? I don't know. Not in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And I've heard Randy Huntington on a podcast, and he's said it on multiple podcasts. He kind of like regrets not having a family and putting everyone else first, putting his athletes first, and not doing all this stuff, right? Like we think at the moment, like, oh, high performance, it's all I care about, doing this. And then like you blink and you're 50 and you blink and you're 60. And it's like, shit, I'm all alone. Like, why and for what? For what? All right, cool. Like I coached someone that got really, really fast, or like he jumped really, really high, or like, what the fuck did I do? Sometimes it's like, even now, like I think like, who gives a fuck? Who cares what we're doing, bro? Like, all right, so pick some shit up, put it down, go do some fucking sprints. It ain't that serious. Like just don't get hurt. Like just that way you go out there and you do your shit again. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I just get these weird takes on what it is that we do. And it's just like, it just doesn't fucking matter sometimes.
100%. Yeah, no, I agree. And like you've been one of the few people, like Boyle takes a ton of shit out there. But just like a guy who's made good money, he's had a super stable life his entire career. Even when he's worked at the highest levels, he's had his business and so many other income streams. And it seems to have raised a really good family, has plenty of quality time. Like he's really the one strength coach you think of who's going to retire as a strength coach who did it, kind of the right way, in my opinion. And he's, put out a ton of resources that help people. Like if you want to talk about changing lives, like the impact and the wake that he's left on strength and conditioning is massive, from a private facility in Boston University. And, he's worked with some NFL athletes and professional sports, but that's been a finite window of what his career really has been. And he's, one of the best to ever do it. So it's such a short shelf life on some of these high end jobs. And I don't know if the risk reward is necessarily there sometimes.
Bro, I got a buddy who was a strength coach in the NFL, and he was the longest tenured NFL strength coach at one point, lost his job, was a volunteer at fucking Temple for a year.
Justice.
A volunteer. Like, I don't want to, like,
yeah.
But like, what the guy's got an incredible resume. Yep. Couldn't link up with a team. I think he's an assistant coach right now or some shit with the Steelers, right?
Last
like
time.
What?
Yep.
Like what the fuck is this industry? I mean, he made great money for a long time, so he doesn't. I mean, does he have to work? Like, yeah, sort of, kind of, but like, shit. Like, what are we chasing? And that's why, like, I admire what you do right now so much, because it's like you know what you need. You know how much your wife doesn't work.
No. Yeah.
She stays at home to take care of and raise the kids and give you a home. You know what I mean? Like you go home. It's not just like when I was living by myself, Brooker. You remember my apartment? Like it might as well have been fucking lawn chairs in front of a TV. My wife turned it into a home. I had a house. She turned it into a fucking home. Like you're able to do that. Like with the life that you're living now, how much more do you need to be happy? I mean, do you think you could, and I'm not going to give you the rest of your life, but like, shit, you could probably be happy where you are for the rest of your career. No?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, when I came here, I don't know that I planned on being here for the amount of time that I have. I did have the idea that like, everyone has these long-term athlete development plans and they talk about this shit, but they've been in a place for a year or two and then move on to the next place. So they don't actually see if it works. First, I've worked with guys for 6 years here in some cases with COVID red shirts and all that. So you've got to work with in the private sector, you get to work with athletes for careers, which is a different perspective and an awesome learning opportunity too. But, I happily would stay in one place my entire career as long as I can continue to do the things that are making me happy and give you, the best return on investment across all of your life, not just what you do at your job.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's so big. I don't think enough people look at this career like that. It's always like, what's next? What's next? What's next? You get the Power 5, you get the SEC. All right, I'm an assistant here. How long am I going to be here? Because you ain't staying there forever. Like Brian Kelly ain't staying there forever. That's a fact. Like we all know he's not staying there forever. He was supposed to be at Notre Dame forever. He wasn't there forever. And that was Notre Dame. Who wants to move on from Notre Dame? And that's what those schools are. And for you're a staple. You're an assistant athletic director. I had a baseball coach, Jeff Albies, when I was at William Patterson, and he was the most winningest coach in Division III baseball history, or maybe in NCAA history. I don't know what the fuck it was. But he was a legend. He retired when he wanted. He went to work when he wanted. You know what I mean? Like it was he was the associate athletic director. He wasn't the head athletic director. He was in charge of so many. He had a couple of little things here and there, but he was there so long. He was woven into the community. They named the field after him. He lived the dream. Could he have coached at Division I? Fuck yeah, he was an incredible coach. Former professional baseball player. He had William Patterson, which was a Division III program. He had guys. There was a guy, Danny Pasqua, who was third base for the Yankees for several years. Like he had All-Americans. His teams used to beat up on Division I teams. He had Division I offers. He never took it. Nope. This is where I am. This is my home, and I'm okay with this. Like it's not the pounding your chest. Oh, I'm at big time, Big Ten or whatever, or Power 5. Like that's all ego, like you said. Like for some people, like that's what more do you need? Like you're a Division I team. You have pretty much everything you need to get better, and you have the opportunity to do what you want, especially being in the position that you're in. I love it, bro. If I'm you, I'd never leave unless, some circumstances change. Like, shit, good for you.
Yeah. Like Burgess up at Quinnipiac, he's a guy that has had good job offers. He's been there forever. Like he's just a staple in the entire athletics department community there. They've won a national championship. Matt Shaw is kind of similar out at Denver, both hockey guys. Like they've had opportunities to leave and just stayed in one place for a long time. And those are the kind of guys that I've had just a ton of respect from afar for what they're able to do and kind of building these programs that last. And just being such an integral part of the entire athletics department is kind of a cool way to do it. And, that's what everyone's trying to move up into these roles of assistant AD, associate AD, et cetera. And, really, like, I still want to coach. I never want to end up in the spot where I'm just an athletic director. I don't think that would fulfill me the same way. But getting yourself as much stability as you can and still being a huge part of training athletes and having fun coaching guys on the floor, if you can get that opportunity, like, what else really matters, like you said?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. And again, to piggyback what you said about Boyle, talk about fucking doing it right. I went out to dinner with him a couple of weeks ago, and he and I just talked. And I mean, the guy's 67 years old, still on the floor, loving life, on his terms, knows both his kids' names, like they both love him. And when I made that post, one of his kids, I think his son or daughter, I forget who it was, commented. And they were like, yeah, he's been to my games. Like he knows who I am. Like he's the best. Like we love him. You know what I mean? Like I never had to pick up and move. Think about all those coaches that go every 3 years. There's a new job. And they leave a job because they know that this job is done in 2 years. So they know that, I could be there for 3 years and then there for 3 years. You got kids that have never laid down roots anywhere either. I don't know. It's not for me. And the same thing goes for the private sector too. If you have a nice small boutique gym with, a couple $1,000s a month overhead, like you don't need the moon, the stars, and the skies if you just live below your means. Yeah. Like you can live an awesome fucking life as a private trainer or even as a personal trainer in someone else's gym. You can live an awesome life as long as you just don't overshoot. Like you get these guys that try to open up these multi-million-dollar facilities or $1 million facility, and they take out all these loans and they do all this stuff and they just get buried. absolutely buried. They take out loans and they try to make, they have TVs on the wall and they have these nice paint jobs and all this stuff, like all this fancy equipment. They have it all outfitted with Sornex, and the Sornex has lighting in it. And like it's, bro, what are we doing? Like when I opened my gym, 1,000 square feet, I think less than 1,000 square feet in that just little corner. I bought 2 racks used, double-sided racks used on Craigslist for $1,000 a piece, a bunch of weights used for like, I don't know, maybe 25 cents a pound, and a couple of used barbells. One of them might have been bent. I don't know. And the only new piece of equipment I got was like the Rogers tread sled or whatever the hell it was. Like that was $7,500. I think I spent 20 grand opening my gym, max 20 grand opening my gym from money I already had. I never had to take a loan out, nothing. And then I slowly expanded it. I got over $100,000 worth of equipment in my gym now. Easily over $100,000 worth of equipment. I've been open. Now we're just finishing our 10th year. Like we started open 2014 in September or August or something like that. And it's 2024. So 10-year anniversary coming up.
That's awesome.
But like you don't need the moon, the stars in the sky. Like you can have a nice small spot, small boutique, and everyone can make money, and you could be there forever. People get too, I don't know. It's like the guys that order two entrees and they don't finish them. You know what I mean? Like their eyes are too big for their stomachs. But yeah, dude, I really admire what you're doing at Elon. Just from the life standpoint, I love it. I absolutely love it. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of what you do. Performance. So with your guys, I called you about sprint training a couple of years ago, and we talked about it. Talk to me about what you're doing for acceleration. I want to know. Talk to me about acceleration. How are you focusing on your acceleration with your guys? What do you care about? What are the things you're tracking? You said you do the catapult stuff. Like, talk to me about everything acceleration. I want to know.
Yeah. I think since we've talked, we've probably changed quite a few things. Obviously, we're always trying to tinker with stuff and improve, but everything that we do always stems from kind of Charlie Francis, like the principles that work. If you operate from those things, I think it's hard to miss. Everyone wants to do new shit, but the reality is short to long for all of our acceleration, all of our max speed sprinting. We're long to short on our aerobic stuff, and they kind of meet in the middle. But the acceleration wise, if we're laying out our week, I think the longer I've been doing this, the more I understood that especially in the summer, we just have to meet the demands of what it is that they do in practice. Like they have to be able to run and train a lot. Like you want to be better at the sport of football, you have to practice consistently, get better technically and tactically, and you can't do that if you're not built up to some high training volume. So I think that's really impacted our max speed work. But from an acceleration standpoint, I'm a huge Cam Josh fan. Mike Clark, all the research on heavy resisted sprinting. Like if you want to talk about, I know one of your recent guests doesn't believe in dynamic correspondence, but to me, that's obviously a huge factor in everything that we're picking. So like if you want to talk about special strength for the ability to sprint, replicating what the angles are and the way that they're producing force, we'll just do heavy chain sprints at least once a week throughout the entire offseason. I think you have a 1080 that you got recently. Would love to have one of those, obviously, but for us, we'll rip heavy chains. Then we have the poor man's 1080, the Exer-genie. Have you ever heard of those? It's like friction based.
I have.
Yeah. So
I have it. I have an Exer-genie. So
it's freaking amazing. It's like $300. One rips out, the other one comes back, and like rapid fire for us. When you have most of our sessions we separate like line and specialists because we'll have them doing obviously quite a bit different training, and then our semi-skill guys, the outside the box guys that are running consistently more and higher yardages. We're about 50 in a group. So for us to be able to rip through and get reps.
5-0?
Yeah. So, which in speed work, run fast, rest, complete rest. Mm-hmm. It kind of almost builds it in. You got 5 guys going by the time they get back up, and we'll do some circuit-based stuff, but consistently every single week we will have one day in our acceleration day we'll go kind of a bell curve, start at a moderate weight, week one, we're not going to start at 90%, obviously, work our way up to a heavier weight, and then we'll kind of tailor back down, getting closer to the speeds that they're going to hit when they're unresisted. And then every single week, we will test 10-yard dash. We're one of the few people I've seen that do it. Like, I hate the hand start. You hand start 10-yard dashes, and something where there's such small room for improvement. A 1.53 versus a 1.58. Oh, you got drastically better. Like, great job, Mike. Like, did he get better, or was I just slower today? So we static start, 2-point stance. You got to be set, and then we just time 9 yards. Where you're running 10 yards, but we put the lasers at 1 yard every time in the exact same spot, 10 yards. Did you actually get faster from point A to point B? I'm not really worried about their reaction time. We're going to train the shit out of their start all the time. We'll do reactive sprints and mix those things in. But our biggest emphasis is going to be that heavy loaded kind of progression on one day, and then we'll have a max velocity day, which is inherently you're getting a lot of acceleration work where we're going short to long. We'll go sprints, floats, and do our sprint, float, sprints, just trying to get that true max speed work. But like I'm sure you know, when we're coming off December, we've had 5-6 weeks off. The early phases, it's just acceleration work. We're not hitting max speed. We're going 10 yards, hold through 40, trying to accumulate them to that upright running at lower intensities and just increase it with logical progression the way that we would in the weight room. And within the weight room, I think we're trying to do things that are going to impact their acceleration. Obviously, we'll hit a lot more unilateral work than most people. And every week within, if we have a kind of a power block, the first thing in the weight room on our acceleration driven days, we'll try and marry up the stimulus with a little bit longer ground contacts, a little bit more horizontal emphasis force versus on our max speed days, we'll do more vertical, quicker ground contact times and things that marry up with what we're doing on field.
All right. I got a lot to unpack. Brooker, do you have any questions? I've been talking this whole fucking time.
So the first of all, are you using the similar like 50% max weight for the heavy resisted sprints from camp?
Yes. Yeah. So we'll start on the lower end of everything they project or advise. Basically, we'll work up to heavier loads and then we'll work back down. And what I found just testing on myself and some of our like pro day guys is, especially if you're trying to contrast anything, like when you do the heavy resisted sprint, I think the kinematics of everything just get a little bit out of whack to where when you go to the unresisted, you think you're going to get this huge like post-activation potentiation effect and they run worse. Versus we'll go, as we get a little bit deeper into it, we'll go each Exer-genie set up at a different weight and you have to start at the heaviest, work your way down, and then we'll run our unresisted for that PAP effect. And I've found that really can enhance some things and they'll run well. But I don't care about the mechanics changing slightly. Like I love the heavy resisted stuff because it's just the ability to get force into the ground in a specific angle that they're going to have to do for that acceleration.
Yeah. And you said you're using chains for that?
We used to use chains. That was all that we used. That's all that we had. Now we've used the Exer-genie significantly more than the chains.
Right.
Okay. So let me unpack even more. Short to long, what are you starting at and how long do you stay there?
So each week, like if we're just starting, I think anything under 10 yards, you're pretty safe. I've never seen anyone pulling hamstrings 8 to 10 yards. So we'll start with 10 yards. All of our acceleration stuff is really heavy. We consistently just stay at 10 yards. If it's super heavy, anything past 10 yards just becomes a little bit too taxing. I just love the idea of overcoming inertia on the very beginning, getting those first few critical steps in the ground, and then holding that speed through the 10. When we get into some of our lighter weights, we'll stretch it out to 15. On our other day where it's originally acceleration kind of bleeds into that max speed, we are 15 to 20 yards full speed, float through 40 to 50, and then a re-acceleration on the back end. So we'll have guys ripping 22, 21 miles per hour on those days, but longer acceleration windows. And then our free unresisted, usually the highest we get up to, just because we separate it where we'll hit our max velocity early in the week. By the end of the week when we're acceleration, I don't want to push the distances too far. We usually cap it at like 15 to 20 on that day.
So how much weight do you do with the 10 yards versus the 15 versus the 20, and how do you determine that weight?
So I would say that's the one knock on the Exer-genie. It says like 10 pounds. It ain't 10 pounds. It's heavy.
So that's the other thing I was going to get to. Like, bro, you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah. It's just us testing it and seeing how it feels compared to when we used to do the chains. We would get up to, we had the heaviest that we got up to consistently was about 150 pounds, which was a mountain. It was like 4 sets of chains on there. And for that, it would be 10 yards. So just feeling out the Exer-genie will be about the same thing. If you're one full rotation around on there, that's when it really starts to kick in, and it's 150 pounds plus for sure. When we're 50 pounds and less and it feels like natural sprinting, that's when we'll stretch it out to 15 yards.
So have you ever had any mishaps with the Exer-genie?
We haven't yet. Have you?
Yeah.
Where just get caught or what?
Bro, I stopped using it. I had a 100-pound athlete do a full sprint with the Exer-genie. It got fucking knotted up somehow.
Just ripped her back. Oh. Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
I was like, yeah, well, this is gonna go in the closet. Like we just fucking. This was 10 years ago. This is year one of me opening my facility, and thankfully it was like hooked up to the net. It wasn't like hooked up to a pole, so it didn't like fucking like crush her. But like it. I was like, yeah, what'd you do?
Have to keep an eye on that. That would make me nervous. Might have to go back to the chains if that's the case. But so far, so good. The Exer-genie has been great.
New fear unlocked.
Yeah.